2750 BC, it was said the ancient Egyptians were using this, copper. This is copper tube to BS EN 1057 table X or half-hard R250 copper tube. And this is the standard copper tube we use as gas engineers and plumbers in the UK. So this series of videos I'm going to show you how to do things like this. So my name is Derek Robbins from Tomcat Gas Training, and this series of videos you're about to undertake is all about bending copper tube. So the first bend we're going to be doing is this. So this is what we call a 90-degree bend, and this is what we call a double offset. So that's what we're going to be doing in the first video. But first of all, let me introduce you to this. This is a pipe bender. So let's have a look at this first. So let's have a look at these components. So first of all, the thing you can see here, this is a 15mm former. So this is going to form the bend. Okay, to help form the bend we need one of these. This is what we call a 15mm guide. There's also one for 22mm as well. Okay, and you can see it's shaped to fit over the pipe. Okay, so this will sit on the top of here with the piping. So if I put the pipe in, that will sit on top of there, and that will help stop the pipe from crushing. So it will keep a uniformed pipe because it will pretty much sit on top like that. Okay, so this is the hook or the keep at the back here, and what this does is when we put the pipe in, it keeps the actual, this is hard to do, it keeps the actual pipe in position, okay, before you slide. So that is how it should be set up. So the hook or the keep keeps the pipe, because when I pull down it stops the pipe flicking up, okay, to make the bend. And you can see the guide and the former are completely covering the pipe to stop the pipe from trying to splay out from the side, okay, or crush completely. That will keep the shape. So when we bend a pipe, it actually gains, it actually stretches, okay. So with a pipe bender, it's normally the diameter of the pipe it gains, but with a bending spring it could be twice the diameter. So depending on your bender, depending on how you're bending it. But your stretch should always go away from your measured end. So this is what we call our measured end, the first part. Okay, so whether this was the centre of a pipe or the side or the end, this is what we call our measured end, and we always work away from our measured end so it gains after we've bent it. So to aid us, we have these two rollers. So there's one on the 22, one on the 22 there, one on the 15, and again, if they are loose or broken, you'll get ripples in your pipe. Okay, also if this is badly worn, this will also give you ripples in your pipe as well. So one of the things you don't want is your pipe rippling, and normally it ripples here. Okay, so you normally get rippling effect, and that's because the pipe's juddering. Okay, so just watch out for that. That could be wearing your wheel or on your guide, or even it's unlikely to be a former, but it's normally one of these two. So if they're loose or broken or stiff, you won't get a smooth bend. Okay, and then there are two handles then to be able to pull and bend your copper tube. So this part here, there's some square flats on there, and that's normally where you would, if you had a vise, you could fix it in a vise, but I'm not going to show you any bending in a vise because I'm trying to show it like you would do if you were on site. Okay, so we got 15 and 22 milli formers on this bender. So then we've got 2 wheels doing the pipe, and we've got 2 hooks, okay, or keeps to keep the pipe in place. Okay, so that's a quick guide to the pipe bender. So as usual on Tomcat gas training videos, let's just get on with it. Now, first video I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a 90-degree bend. Okay, so first thing, got a piece of 50mm copper tube. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be bending a 90-degree bend. Okay, so if we look at this is the pipe bender, we're going to look at bending it 90 degrees round here. Okay, now we're going to do it a set distance, and the way we're going to do this is what's called the loose pipe method. Okay, so I'm going to do my first bend 150mm, which is going to be from the end of the pipe to the center of the bend. So that's the first thing. Now, what I'm going to do is put it in the bender. So we need to put the bender like this, and the pipe is going to go into the former like that. Now we need the 15mm guide, so this is a 15mm guide, and I'm just going to use that and pull the handle a little bit just so it stays in position for me. Okay, now I'm just going to get a scrap piece of copper, and this is where this loose pipe method comes in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide the pipe in, and where the center meets the mark is where I want to be. So I need to come back a little bit. So I'm banging the center. Okay. Now I can even use set square. Now whether you've got a set square with you or not, I don't know, but there you go. And the set square can also tell us if we're banging the center or not. Okay. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand the bender up. Okay. Just pull it a little bit so it doesn't move. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull the pipe so it bends around the corner. So the stretch is going away from my measurement. So the pipe will gain, but I don't care because it'll be pushing it that way, because this will be a fixed point. So my fixed point from here to the center of the pipe will be 150mm, hopefully, when we've bent it. So just going to bend the pipe around now. Now what we're aiming for is a square bend. Now what we have to do is we have to slightly over bend it, because once I've released the pressure it will spring back. Okay, so again, some benders have these marks already on. They might go 30 degrees, 45, 90. We can also use a set square to help us to see whether we're square or not. So if we release the pressure, and we can now see whether we are round about where we are. It's not a million miles out, so I can now take that out. Let's put that to one side, and let's use the square now and see whether we are square or not by standing it up. And that is, I don't know whether you can see that, but that is pretty good. Okay, that's pretty square with the table. Okay, now then, measuring it. Now, little trick for you. If you want to find the centre line of your pipe, just place something metal on the edge and scrape across like that. It is actually better if it's a dirty pipe. Okay, so we've scratched across it, and that should give us our centre measurement. So remember, from the end of there to the centre of there, we want 150mm. So if I place this now, this straight edge, on the centre of the pipe, on that mark I've just made, and I get my tape measure, it should be from there to the end of the pipe. Let me just get it smack in the middle, which it is there, 150 millimeters. So that is the first bend done. Okay, now next thing I want to do is I want a double offset, okay, and I'm going to measure from the centre of there to the centre of my pipe. I want 200. Okay, so we're going to go like this way, so like an S or a Z or a 5, whichever way you're going to do it. We're going to come round this way. So again, I need to place that to the centre of the pipe, and I'm going to measure. I'm going to measure 150, and I've got to be as accurate as I can. I'm inaccurate with your measuring, then your bend's going to be inaccurate. So that is where my pipe needs to be, in the centre of there, to allow me to bend it this way. Okay. Now, I need to put it in the back in the bender. So if we get the pipe bender again, get rid of all the junk. I need to put it in this way. Now I'm going to bend it around this way, so I have to make sure it goes in the bender that way. Okay, again I'm going to put the guide in. Remember, this is the guide, this is the former. So again, with my loose pipe, I'm going to be putting it back in the centre again. Okay, so as close as I can, but I've also got to make sure that this is straight as well, so I'll look at that in a minute. So let's make sure I've got this in the right spot. So again, I can use my set square, if you've got one, to make sure I'm in the centre. And this time I'm going to stand it up, but before I bend it, I've got to square this pipe up with the handle. Again, I could use a straight edge, so I could put a straight edge on there like that and make sure it's straight like that, or I can use the handle to make sure it's straight. So now again, I need to pull it 90 degrees. That's my shoulder squeaking, not the pipe. And I wonder why I've had 2 major operations on my shoulder. Anyway, so again, I'm pulling it 90 degrees. I've overbent it a little bit. If we underbend it, we can always put it back in, and if we overbend it, we can always pull it back again. So if we were to pull it back, just need to give it a tweak on the bench like that. Now, let's just check and make sure it's something like square, which is going to be hard, but there you go. So that's not a million miles out. Now, 150 we require now, from the centre of there to the centre of there. So again, I'm going to place that in the centre, as close as I can. And again, I'm going to get my tape rule, and I should be 150 mil from the centre to centre. And that's how you bend a double offset using the loose pipe method. Now, before I go on to the next bend, I want to just quickly show you another way of doing it. So I've already pulled a 90 degree bend, so let me just get that out of the way. So what I've got here is, I've measured from the end of my pipe to this mark here of 100 millimeters. Okay, I've then placed the 100 millimeters on the edge of the former. Okay, now then, and then I've pulled the bend. Well, I did my loose pipe method first and then pulled the bend. So I've now got this bend. Now I need, before I move that back, I need to find the distance from the end of there to the centre of the pipe where it finishes. So I need to measure from that distance. So this should accurately give me that measurement. So if I then place it like that, and I now put that on the centre line there, and I now measure that distance. So that distance is from the centre of the pipe to the end of there. It looks 65 mil. Yeah, 65 millimetres. So that means if I knock that 100 out, from the end of there to the centre of there is 65 mil, which we'll just check again. Let's get it in the centre so we know we're right. So we're 65 mil. Now then, if I wanted to do a double offset going that way, what I would have to do is, and I wanted to do 150 mil, so again I will place that, just get it in the centre. So I would place that in the centre. I would measure down my 150 mil. Still trying to stop getting a big fat head in the way. 150 mil, which is there. I would now go back 65 mil. So if I put 65 there. So that is where I put it into the father. So I'll have to go all the way around because I want to bend it the opposite way. So that would be around there. So I would place that now onto the edge of there. Place in the guide. So still making sure that it's on the line. So now I would stand it up, square it up, and now pull my 90-degree bend again. And again, I can use my set square to see whether I'm somewhere near. So now, if I put my straight edge here, again, I should be, from the end of there, so centre to centre again, I should be 150 mil, if it's worked out correctly. So, centre to centre, that needs to bend round a little bit more, because it's not quite 90. But you can see it's not a million miles out. Obviously if I go up there, it's 155, that means that needs putting back in the bender a little bit. As you can see, it's not quite square, needs pulling around a little bit more. So if I put that back in. Making sure it goes back fully in. Again, if I've overbent it, I can just pull it back a little bit. can see now that when I hold that square there is 150. So that is the second way of pulling double offsets without using the loose pipe method. So let's get on to another bend. That is the end of part 1 of this copper pipe bending videos. Now in part 2 we're going to be looking at doing things like this, offset bends. Okay, so if you've liked this video, why don't you give us a thumbs up or leave that constructive comment down below. If you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, then please subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell because I release videos every Wednesday. All I've got left to say is thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and look out for next Wednesday and learn how to do offsets. Cheers guys.